As a former librarian, I noticed long ago that religions, in the Dewey Decimal System of cataloging, are classified separately from myths, which are relegated to a decade of the area of social studies rather than having their own 100 numbers as does religion. However, to me, they are one and the same thing. Myths being religions which current cultures and populations do not any longer believe, in languages which have been cobbled together to take care of worldly needs. Good, clear, metaphysical terms are sorely lacking. What we do have are the stories of myth, lore, and religion. Many evocative and mysterious stories that have helped people throughout history think upon metaphysical and divine things. Naturally, wanderers generally have some interest in or even a craving for myth. Those of QO say, let us lay some groundwork. First of all, the words mythology and religion should be far more interchangeable than they are. The difficulty is that in myth, there is no judgment between one myth and another, whereas in religion, those of one religion square off with hostility against those religions which in some way contradict it. Thus, we prefer to talk of all paths of spirituality as personal myths. Realize that the essence of myth is to move the seeking entity by its own faith and its desire, to know the truth over a kind of rainbow bridge, a magical, convenantial span that links time and eternity, that which is known and that which is a mystery. The building of a personal myth for ourselves, then, is that process whereby we see our lives in the light of eternity, and our incarnation as a brief but important effort of faith, gift, and service. It is a good way to think about one's life and a journey of seeking. The twin essences of myth are adventure and self-sacrifice. In what is perhaps the central myth of the Western world that is not mainstream Christian, the object of the journey of adventure is the Holy Grail. Let us look at the compelling myth of the Holy Grail. It has perhaps seized the imagination of mystics in a more direct way than any spiritual system. The hero must go forth alone. It must pass impossible tests. It must bring back that which is unavailable, seemingly, and it must do it for the love of the infinite Creator. It is, of course, in the journey itself that the transformation of the hero occurs. When the hero returns, this entity then becomes the teacher, able to speak in parables and stories, antidotes that may make sense to those about one. In the absence of an acceptable religious practice within conventional religion, then the wanderer is on this journey searching for the grails of truth, beauty, and deity, without a clearable, discernible vector. When the culture does not identify greatly with any mystical system, then it is that the seeker is challenged to explore possibilities for itself. We find your culture at this time in such a state of flux. The lip service given to the mystical systems of Christianity and Judaism remain current and widespread. Yet the emotional involvement of the culture as a whole in this mystical system is at a low level. In this atmosphere, each seeker will find ways to create, form a synthesis of various systems, or from within the self, a unique path. And this is more and more the way that those within your culture are moving. So those of QO have a couple of suggestions here. One is to choose one story and stick to it. Persistent in experiencing and studying one system, be it of myth, science, philosophy, or ethics, or any system whatsoever to which the seeker is personally and individually drawn. Another is to go through many of them, looking for one that fires our hearts and souls. Another tack is to move into our own personal myths, grasping the principles involved and creating our own myths or paths of practice. Each race, each culture, each religion offers to the entities that are grouped within it an identification that makes them who they are and what they are. There are, however, within each culture, each religion, and each philosophy, those far-seeing individuals who are like unto the hero in any journey or story that can open up new possibilities to the people by their far-seeing vision. One thing for sure needs to be included in one's personal myth. Let us look at the way of encouraging ourselves to release from ourselves old and undoubtedly unneeded and certainly negative habits. Most of what we have to offer you is a tool called forgiveness. We do not prefer one method of achieving redemption over another. All myths contain within them redemption and forgiveness, no matter how great the error. You may choose your path of faith, or you may create your own personal myth, but be sure it contains a rock-solid foundation of redemption and self-forgiveness. Let's hear from some wanderers seeking their personal myths. Someone once asked me what my religious beliefs were, and when I told them, they said I was a mixture of every religion on this planet. I suppose that is true. I only know that I believe in the Creator. Nothing will sway me from that, and that I, much to people's disbelief, can comprehend infinity. Searching for truth and trying to belong. I found myself progressing through religions. I began reading obsessively about religion, psychic experience, philosophy, and just about anything else I could get my hands on having to do with the nature of reality. I realized that at the core of all religions there seemed to be some kind of universal truth which had been expressed differently by other cultures. At the heart of it all was something called God. Those of Latwii tell us of the rules of the road beyond all study of myth, the style and attitude with which we may journey and seek the most skillfully. It is a good thing in your mind to allow the various myths and legends about the seeker's journey to evaporate from your minds, and to cease expecting and anticipating your journeys next day, your experiences next hour, for you are creatures of the moment, and the journey lies within. And so, my friends, we suggest that you toss concern about your own sincerity to the wind and sing the songs of joy that are in your heart at this moment. Or turn your face to the wind and moan and cry, if that be your lot. Accept joy and sorrow. Accept joy and sorrow, as if they were the same thing. Accept the rocky place and the oasis as if they were equal gifts, for these are your home. You shall learn comfort in suffering, and you shall find the undertones of sadness in the most joyful moments, for that which is within you is whole and entire. You are not an experiencer of isolated events or a chronicle of segmented stories, but rather eyewitness to a present moment which this illusion shall suggest to you often to be more than one thing, longer than one moment, fragmented and broken. Yet, if the road goes on forever, how can it be fragmented? Whatever way of seeking our personal myths, it is important to do it daily. We would suggest very strongly that it is well if there be an altar or holy place, small as it may be, within the dwelling or close to the dwelling, that may be dry from the weather and accessible in all temperatures, so that one may go there and meditate each day, to feel that place within that hungers for heavenly food.